So today, what we'll do is, from my last session, we had missed out on two things that I wanted to do on backups, and then we will go on to doing the restore stuff. Anyone has any questions, just stop me anytime, and you also can put your questions in the chat. Uh, what I want to talk about backups today is the Ola Allegran backup scripts. These are free industry standard backup scripts which you could use in your environment. I use them for my backups on our servers, all the servers that we have. Uh, so it's quite simple. I'll just show you how to use them and how they're set up. So you can just download them from this location. I've sure let me share my screen. So I've already downloaded them. Sorry. Yeah, they are in my download. This is when you go, this is the maintenance solution that it will download this file. If you just double click on that file, it'll open that up. And if you want it, it will create all the scripts in the master database. You don't want it in master. If you have a separate database where you keep all your DBA kind of scripts, you could save it there. So I like to do that. So what I'll do is just change and have one of the databases rather than master, or I'll put it in MSDB because that's where most of my maintenance script lives. So I can do that. Just change that part. And if you run this, okay. So this is done. What it does is it creates all your stored procedures that it needs for taking the backup. So it will create all your stored procedures. Basically, it creates uh, just one command execute and this stored procedures and a backup. So these are the four stored procedures it will create, and also it will create all the jobs needed to do the backup and maintenance. So I'll just refresh my job stuff. Right. So now here you will see you have the command log, that is the table cleanup job. Creates a table where it will keep writing the history of all the backups, all the integrity checks it will do. So it will to clean that job up. That is what it is there, and then all the backups. So full differential, separate for users, separate for system. And what you main thing you need to remember is, so let me open one of them. Okay. So in the steps, if I go, you will need to edit the location. So it doesn't have the location right now where you directory where you want the backup to go to. And so it will have all the other default parameters. You could change those parameters. Let me let me go to the website. Let me just quickly show the documentation. It has very good documentation also. So just copy this. Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay, let's do. Sorry. Okay, let's do. Okay, quickly go into Google and we search for. So if I say, okay, so if you just do that search itself, you'll get everything. Okay, just put it back. Just control them. Add, right. So this is where I downloaded the maintenance solution. And if you go into SQL Server Backups, it will show you all the parameters that are there. So what kind of backup you want, right? These are the different backup type. Verify. You want to verify that after restore. Uh, Cleanup time, how much time after time that you want to delete the backups. And there is copy only backups. So everything is there. You can change any parameters that are. So this has a big list of parameters, but you could change based on your environment. So if you want to encrypt the database or backup, or if you are using always on availability group and you're using secondary for backups, it is aware of availability groups and you can update the script accordingly. So what it has is, so this is what the standard, it will do a checksum, it will write the details to log. This is the standard one. So it will have all those things. And here, if you want to give specific databases, you can give specific databases. One thing you need to be very careful is these scripts when you run. The main thing that I want to highlight was, just let me cancel out of here. They don't have any schedule. So if I go into schedule, it is not scheduled. So just don't run these scripts and forget to schedule them. and nothing will happen. So you need to schedule that. So that is most important. So let us just update this one and location of this. I'll show you how it works. It's quite simple. So setting back here. Okay. So in this, sorry, I'm just pressing the wrong thing. Hmm. Let me just make and move this again. This is okay. Yeah, right. Okay. Okay. So if I go into general and just update the step and say right, and I say edit. Sorry, this Zoom thing is quite painful. Sorry. Uh, Go back. Right. Yeah. So here is, let me just, can I minimize it somewhere? No. Okay. Uh, right. Yeah. Right. So if I just put my directory to be, say, it's D colon, skill. This is on my local laptop. I'm taking the backup. So it's skill. I just call backups. Oops. Okay. And run this. All right. And let's maximize this so that we can on. Okay. So that's it. Click on OK. Click on OK. And that's done. So let's try and run that one. We'll just show you how that works. If I just do a system databases full and start that job. Okay, let's see the error why it is not working. So it's a history. Okay.
The path was wrong. You did not give the path.
Oh,
Exactly.
okay. All right. Let me check again. Okay. Maybe the quotation I didn't close, so let me do that again. I'll fix that.
You did not give the colon, D colon.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's right. Oh, yeah. Thank you. That's fine. P colon backups. And that quotes is missing, so that's why it is giving that. So that quote I need to give. It looks okay now. So let me run. Okay, that's done. So if I go into D drive and to backups, okay, and so what it will do is it create a folder for you based on your server name. So my server is the laptop SQL. That's the named instance that I've installed. So it will do that. And again, for all the databases, it will create the folder and full. Uh, so it will create the folders and take a backup. So it will have the timestamp and everything. So that's quite useful. So that's how you can use the scripts. That's just a basic introduction, and you could play around and have fun, make it useful to your own environment. So I'll just stop here for a minute. Do you have any questions on this one? Do you want me to try anything else out? All right. Okay. Sorry. Go on. Okay. So another thing that I wanted to share from the backups was, so let me go back. Okay. Right. Uh, so the other thing last time I shared. Okay. So how to speed up your backups? There are multiple options there. So if you have a large database and it's taking a lot of time, this is what you could do. Backup to multiple files. So instead of taking backup to one file, you could backup to multiple files. And then you can take a compressed or you can compress the backup. I have observed the speed of the backup doesn't go that high when you compress it. But you could give it a go. But it saves a lot of space. So we have a database around 220 gigs, and it when we uh, take a compressed backup, it just takes 35 GB on the disk. So that's just quite fast. And then you can also change two other parameters: max transfer size, which is these number of buffers, the size SQL Server will use to copy data from SQL Server, basically the 8K pages onto the drive. The default is 1 MB, and you can give any value up to from 64 KB to 4 MB, and it has to be a multiple of 64 KB, that's the extent size in SQL Server. So you could increase that and that. And also you can change the buffer count. This is basically how many buffers in SQL Server will use uh, for taking backups. This is not a fixed value. SQL Server automatically calculates at the time of starting the backups. If you put that value to be high, very high manually, it might you might run out of memory. So I had done some tests. I am not going to show how this works because I don't have a very big database. I had done some tests, and so I'll just share those with you. So let me go ahead. So this is what I had done is I had a 16 GB two core server, and I had a 445 GB database. So it was taking 53 minutes to take a backup. When I put it to uh, 4 files. It still took approximately the same time, but I put it to 2 files. It took approximately 40 minutes. So another 10 minutes was shaved off. So because I believe that's because number of posts that I had on the server, we had two. So if I match that, uh, the backups were quite fast to the 2 files. It was typing quite fast. So that's why I could save out 10 minutes on that. And with compression, it took around just 1 minute less than normally it would take. Then I had set max transfer rate to 2 MB. That's what I did, and I got 40 minutes. And I did change the buffer count to 12, and again I could take the backups down to 40 minutes. So you will have to experiment with your own environments and change this settings if you want to. So the only thing that you have to keep in mind is if you're taking backups to multiple files while restoring, you will have to specify all those files while restoring that. That's the thing you have to keep in mind. That's what I wanted to share. Any questions on that?
Where to set this max transfer size
Okay.
value?
Yeah. So in the backup command, I'll just show you this. Let's quickly write one. Just let's do an query. So if I say backup database and say I have a my test one database, do this, to let's get backups. Okay. With you have to say max transfer rate. I think so. That's what it is. Maybe I'll just check again. Anyway, so quickly check in the documentation. That's what it is. Yeah. Let's check. So backup database. Next, so if I go here, find max transfer. Yeah. So you have to say max transfer size. It is not transfer rates. Put that. Just copy that. So, okay. Yeah. So let's say max transfer rate. So that is what where you can give. I'll just give what I had given in uh, the bigger database. So let me just copy it from the Word document I have. So it's easier. Okay. So, okay.
So how can we decide this max transfer size value?
Okay. Yeah. So what you'll have to do is you can start from say 1 MB kind of thing because 64 KB. Sorry, the uh, 1 MB is
For
what
a
is default, and then you can increase it a little bit, and you'll have to experiment with your database on your machine. So this is what I did on my machine. So on a virtual machine that I had. So it depends on your environment, and then you can maybe include also the number of files, type to different files, and then so that way you will have to get your optimum on your machine. So that you have to test it out with it in that. It's not there is no like a default suggested parameter or like a suggested value. And when we give you, will say okay, this is what will work in all time. So yeah,
okay, yeah, I did see like the maximum value is up to 4 MB, right?
right, that's right.
Yeah. Uh, okay.
Okay, that
1 MB to
uh,
4 MB.
4 MB you could set it in. So you'll have to test it with your databases and then just change it. And even in Ola Halligren scripts, you can change it. I think there is a parameter called max transfer site. You can specify
Mhm.
in the scripts as well. Okay, right?
So this is helpful to reduce the duration, right? To
Yeah,
take
that's
it
right.
back.
Yeah, so your backups will be faster. Uh, so that will help you use the time of the backups. That's it.
Yeah. Got it. Thanks, man.
No problem. So that's all about other backups I want to share today. So we'll. Do you have any questions? Any more questions? Okay,
No.
right. Thanks. So let's quickly jump onto the restore stuff today. So let me start my presentation. What I wanted to cover today. So today I will try and show mostly demos. It's not much theory I want to show for restore. So first just show you a restore, a simple restore. Basically, if you have only full backup setup, if you have a database in simple recovery mode and you want to restore that one, how to do that. Then I'll just show you a script which is quite useful in case of in case of restores, and I'll show you why it is useful, how it is. And then I'll show you how to recover a database if you have lost your drive which has your main data file. Then how to restore a database with a different file, different name on a different server if you want, if you're moving. So I'll show you on my on laptop, but you could take that scenario to moving to another server with another name or something like that that you want to do, and recover from a data corruption. So I'll cover two scenarios how you can recover if someone accidentally just updates or deletes or drops a table or updates the entire table without a where clause, that's and then how to restore if your backup file is corrupted and what you will need to do in that case of some, and then some important restore command, and then I'll just go over some best practices. So let's dive in. So what I'll do is I'll just show you. This is from Enterprise Manager. This is the simplest way of doing the restore. So for example, I want to restore this database. So what I just need to do, go into databases and uh, so let me say, sorry, restore database. That's all I need to do. And I can select the database if it's online. If it's not online, you'll have to give, for example, if your database has gone down, so you could do a give, you'll have to provide the database name here. So I'll just, okay, sorry, this is the database device from where I want the file where I want to restore from. So I'll just had taken a backup. So you need to add that here and say, and it will go by default to your default backup location. But if you have got it, the backups to another different location, like I have got in T drive, we just select that here. Okay, just minimize this. It's on C drive, right? D, okay, backups. Okay, so I had just taken my test one backup. Okay, let's put DB. Yeah, right. So I didn't run that backup command. That's why it's not there. So let's say to that's lot. Okay. Let's say okay, I, okay. So that's all you need to give. It will automatically get the database name from there, and it will do the restore. Let's click on OK. Okay, that's the simplest way of doing a restore. This could be useful. This is I'm just doing a full backup restore. I didn't do any other restores after that. This is useful for development kind of environment where you just have full backup setup. You don't have any differential or transactional or backup setup. So this is quite useful, and this is the simplest way of doing the restores. Uh, so that's the fast, simpler way of doing restore. Now let's look at something else. Okay. So now I wanted to show you, let me close this one. Okay. Let me show you. So there is this, so for example, I just want to give, okay. So I have this my test database. And for example, if you're taking backups for maybe every 10 minutes or something like that, sorry, full backups every daily, and you're taking transaction log backups, or if you're taking full backups on a weekend, and then you do differentials daily, and you take transaction log backups every 10 minutes, and you want to restore, your database goes down and you want to restore. So let me show you. Like I have only 10 files. So what I did was I'm taking a backup, full backup. Then I'm doing transaction log backups, and there is one differential backup here. This is the differential backup I'm taking, and then I'm taking few more log backups. Now let's run these things. So I'll just show you. Okay. So the full backup is done, and just run the transaction log backups. So I've got 6 transaction log backups. Then after that, I'm taking a differential backup, right? And I'll do so now if something happens to my database or something, someone accidentally drops some table or something, I have to restore this. In case to restore that, I have to start from the first full backup. So now if I go into restore database and say, okay, restore database, and I say device, and then you'll have to add all the devices here that you want to restore from. So this is quite painful, and especially if the server is down, I hope, I'm sure your managers will not wait for so long. So what you need to do is there is one script. It's quite useful. So this is called a restore genie. Uh, this is a restore genie script which you can download from internet, or I'll share the link. What it does is you just give it uh, the database name and run it. So what it will do is it will generate the restore command for you, because you don't want to be handwriting the commands when there is a disaster, right? So this is quite useful. So if I run this now, okay, run for a few seconds, and your database could be down. So yeah, so let's just wait. Yeah, so it has generated all the commands. What it will do is it will go to the first full backup. So if you look at that, that is my backup. So let me just copy it and paste it in a bigger window. So let me do that so we can all see. Right. So hold on. Right. So let me close this down so that it's easy. So it has created a first. It will go back to the first full backup. That's the restore sequence, right? So it will create that command to restore the first full backup. Then your latest differential backup. That is what I had. My differential backup, and then all the log backups that would be needed to restore your database. And it will leave your database in no recovery, right? So if you run only these commands, your database will be in no recovery. Then it will do a recovery, and then it will do a check DB. If you don't want to do this, you could avoid. If you don't have time, then you can avoid this. So this is quite helpful, and I recommend, especially in case of urgent scenarios, it would be helpful to have this. Uh, so I will I use this. So you could use restore genie. It is quite helpful, especially if you are taking backups quite regularly, and it will help to generate the scripts quickly. You don't have to go and generate the scripts. So this will help. Right? So that's about the restore genie I want to talk about. Any questions on that?
So is it helpful only for native backups if the backups are taken from the tool?
Yeah. So what it looks at as the MSDB. So if it's taken from a tool, I have not tried it, and I'm sorry, I have not tried it. I could try it if it is taking using something like a SQL backup command or some other tools like. I've not tried. So I've tried it with the native ones. I have to check that out. Let me check that out and let you know. That's a good question. Okay. So next, what we'll look at is another demo. So let me go. So let's. Okay. So let me open my file and start with the first one. Okay. So what I wanted to. Right. Right. So, right. What you'll do is, if, for example, what happens is in your scenario, if say your drive, which had the main data file, gets lost or something like that, like it gets corrupted, and you can't bring the drive online. how to restore in that kind of scenario. I just wanted to show. So what you have is, say, for example, I'm taking a backup. So let's have a backup, take a few log backups. I'm just taking a few more log backups of this database, right? So I'm just taking these backups, right? And right, and now, right, okay. So let's take few more. I'm just taking few more log backups, right? That I'm doing. Now, what I'll do is I'll just corrupt my backup. No, this was the wrong. Sorry, I'm on the wrong one. Let me just open. Sorry, one file. File. Okay, sorry, that was the backup file corruption. This is about the file corruption. So let me do it. So this is a similar one. So just take a backup, and I'm just creating a table, right? And yeah, okay. Let me just yeah. So let's start. So I'll just take a backup, and then I have created a table in that database. So let's use that my test one, and let me create that table. I think I might already have that. So let's create a table. So let's call it backup demo one, because I think so I have one which is I did yesterday. So let's do that, and I'll take a differential backup, right? And insert some data into that. So I'm just running that 10 times. So I have 10 rows in this. So let's quickly check the data. So no, I want to do backup demo one, right? So that, right? And I'll just do a select uh, uh, back demo one, right? So now, so we have the data in here. So now I'll take a log backup, another log backup, right? What I'll do is I'll just stop the SQL Server and rename my MDF file, and then see how we could recover that data. So let's go into the configuration manager. So this is could be similar scenario like if your disk is not working. So I'll stop the SQL Server. Okay, stop this. Okay, okay. So that's stopped. So now let me go into my D drive where I have the data file. So it is in MS SQL folder. That is my test one. So this is my database file. So what I'll do is I'll just rename this. We rename this and call it, say, uh, fail or something like that. Just do that. Okay, so I need to give admin permission. So let me just do this. Okay, so that's I've done. Now I'll start my SQL Server, and my database will not come up online. So let's see. If I start this. Okay, the service has restarted. So let's go back. Let me connect. Just move this around a bit. Right. So let's go into View Object Explorer. Right. So if I back to it was right. So if I refresh my database, right, so it is showing this my test is recovery pending. No, that was wrong. That's okay. So looks like I've got I renamed the wrong file. So let me just cross check again. Cross check what was the file. So use my test one. That is not the one. It should show me the one. Let's do this. And so select no, this file. Sorry. Okay, this is equal to 2022. That's the folder where I have kept it. So sorry. Uh, so let me just stop it again and let's try and go from that. Let's stop SQL Server again. Right, that's stopped. Let's go into DSQL 2022. So it's the one. So my test one, right? That was to install. Let's cross check. Yeah, my test one.mtn. So test one. Let's be down somewhere. Right. So let me rename this. Rename this to be fail again. Right. Hit admin. Access. Right. So that's done. Let's start SQL again. Start it. Right. So now we'll go back to skill server and let's refresh this. Okay. Right. So this is in recovery pending, the my test one, which I had renamed. So now if you want to recover this now, so what I will, we need to go. Yeah. Okay. Right. So now what we need to do is we need to take a, because this your log file is still intact. What we can do is we can take a backup of the tail log. This way you will not lose any data that is on the server. So you could take whatever transaction till the time the database went into recovery pending will be there. So what we can do is just take a backup. So this is the command to take the backup, the tail log backup. So I'll just take that. Okay, sorry, I have to connect again because I had restarted the SQL server. Okay, so let me take this on the side. Okay, so I have to connect. Quick connection. Let's do. So let's not show. Okay, let's do the connect here.
Right click on the query window.
All right. Okay. So
Yeah, go to connections.
okay, where is that?
Connect,
All
yeah,
right.
connection.
Hmm.
The sixth option, sixth one.
Oh, okay. Connection. That is not showing me. So maybe I'll have to let me do a new query. Which yeah. Okay. So fine. Right. Okay. Let me copy this, paste it here, change this. Okay. So should work. Yeah. So it's I've done a tail log backup now. What I'll do is I'll just run restore genie and get my backup command. So I'll do that as well. So copy. Let me close this one. Add the file. Stop. Yes. Okay. So, all right. Yeah. Okay. So that's done. Right. Okay. I don't think I copied the file. Okay. So let me just close this one. Okay. Right. So yeah. So this is done. Okay. 1 second. I am just trying to get the okay. So yeah, that's all I needed. Let's copy this. This was my test one, right? So this is yeah. Okay. So let's do my test one and script run that script. Okay. So I've got this. I'll just copy these and just do a restore. So I don't want to do a check DB, so I'll leave that out. I'll just copy these into my command. Right. So okay. So let's do this. Restore my test one. Okay. Right. And then I'll run the differential backup one. It's done. And do this. And then log. Okay. Right. And I'll do the recovery as well. Right. So that's all done now. So if I refresh this, my database should be back into my it's back to being normal. So that's how you could recover in case your disk goes down, something like that. So that's how you could do it from a backup if there is a problem. If your drive goes down, so you take a backup of the tail log, and then you can run you run the full backup restore, and then the differential and all the transaction log and the tail log as well. So that's how you could do it. Your back restores, right? So, any questions on that one?
So first we can do full. First we have to take the tile log back, right?
Yeah, so we have to take tail log because then you will not lose any of your the transactions. If you don't take that, it will not work. Then you'll not be able to do the restore. They will lose the data, right? Exactly. If you don't take the to that
Yes.
tail. Right. Any other question?
Up to what point we can lose the data if we did not take the tail log backup?
So the till the last transaction log backup you have. So if your transaction log backups are running every 30 minutes, so you will lose data up to 30 minutes because that's the point you will be able to restore up to 30 minutes on that. Because yeah, that's what.
Mhm.
Okay, so if you're taking what less you can say whatever less based on your RT or RT what you have, that's what you lose based on your transaction log backups. It's that much data. Okay.
Okay.
Any other question? Okay. Right. So next, I wanted to show you how we can use this restore genie to move this database. So I just go back to my presentation. I just wanted to just show a few things. So I've chosen restore genie. Okay. Now, so in case of a data corruption, say for example, someone comes to you and says, "Oh, I have just done an update, and okay, can you restore? Can you get that table back, or can you get that data back?" I just wanted to
Can you
make
talk about a
sorry,
this not restore genie?
restore genie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is what I showed you earlier. This is the script that I have. That will generate your restore commands when you give the database name. So that's what I showed you. That's what I have.
Yeah,
So,
in order to run that store procedure, do we need to have some, it should be already exists in the MSDB?
yeah, you'll have to create it. So so you can, I've created it in the master database. So you could create it in master or any other database, and you could use it from there. That's what you could do.
Can you provide that script?
Yeah, I'll send you the link that I have. So I'll provide the script to you. Yeah, after I have the script, let me share it. Let me just put it in the chat. Okay, I think I can attach it in the chat. I can. Let me check if I can put something. No. Let me see my your computer. So I'll just put it here so that I will get it. So I'll have the CD get back scripts.
So in this restore genie script, uh,
Yeah.
will it be helpful when the log file drive is damaged or corrupted?
Uh, Sorry. Just let me send this first. Okay. Tell me, what is your question? I didn't get you.
No, we have seen like, if data file drive is damaged or
That's right.
corrupted, we
Yeah.
can use it. But what if, if our log file drive is damaged or corrupted?
Yeah.
Will this
Then
be helpful?
so the restore genie is just helping you to generate the commands to do the restore. It is not so as your log file is corrupted, so you will not be able to take the t log back the tail log backup. The tail log backup you will not be able to take. In that case, you will have data loss till your last transaction log backup. So whatever if it was taken last 10 minutes ago or half an hour ago, you will have that much data loss. This will help you to generate the scripts to restore it to the latest transaction log backup.
Yeah, I think and the data loss will be till the last checkpoint,
But
I guess.
no, but if the check, so we did a checkpoint, and but your transaction log file drive is gone, right?
Yeah, that
Now,
is what I'm saying. Like, we have taken the transaction log backup.
right,
For example, every 30 minutes is a
right,
transaction log backup.
right,
So 10:30, we have the transaction log backup has been generated. So
right.
the next cycle would be 11
11 of
o'clock.
yes, that's right.
Yeah, but in between, if our log file is damaged at 10:40,
Right.
then there would be a loss of 10:30 to
10,
10:40.
yeah, that's right. There's
But
10,
I suppose, in between 10:30 to 10:40, if there is a checkpoint,
okay. But
till
checkpoint has
that,
written, yeah. So what does
yeah,
checkpoint do? So it will write the fi- your
yeah, dirty pages to the
to the
drive, I mean,
uh,
data file.
yeah, not dirty pages, only the committed transactions it will write to the
Yeah, committed
uh,
transaction.
so you will
So,
lose, yeah,
up to checkpoint, we will lose the data in case log file is damaged. I
uh,
mean, that is my assumption. Correct me if I'm wrong.
yeah. So if your log file goes, so now if you bring your database back online, it will not come online, right?
Yes, yes.
So now when you even if you have so now when you restore, right? So
Mhm.
you cannot restore up to the point because your log you will not be able to take a tail log backup, right?
Correct.
So you will not be able to you don't have a backup till 10:40. So how do you restore? If the checkpoint is automatic, so you can go even the checkpoint had happened, it had written to your data file, say at
Mhm.
10:44 or something like that, and your file got corrupted at 10:45. Uh,
Mhm.
right, and then but you have a backup at 10:30 only. So when you're restoring, you are restoring till 10:30 only, right? So you will lose that data even if it's written.
Okay.
So that's what usually it is suggested to have your transaction log backups as small. So your recovery point objective RPO, which is will be always equal to your transaction log backups duration. So if you keep it to 5 minutes or something like that, then you lose 5 minutes data, right? So if you have so that's what it is suggested to have as small as you want, but then you have to be ready with scripts, every 5 minutes. You don't want to be going. So what usually I do is uh, this restore genie thing I run every half an hour, and it generates those scripts and send emails me every half an hour. So I have the scripts for every last half an hour. So if anything happens, I have the script. I don't have to write for entire day or something. Because every 5 minutes you'll have no in an hour you'll have around every 5 minutes means 12 was 12 transaction log backups, right?
Okay.
Right. So that is what you could do.
Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, recovery point objective, I did understand that, it really depends upon the how
Okay.
oftenly we are doing the transaction log backups.
Yeah. So recovery point objective is basically how much data you can afford to lose, right? That's what RPO means.
Yeah.
RPO is right. So how much data you will lose in case of a disaster? Everything goes down.
This is
So how much data you will lose? Uh, Now, if you're taking backups every 10 minutes, uh, and your log file goes corrupt, and or you lose your server altogether, you don't have anything. Then when you are restoring, you can restore only up to whatever last transaction log backup you had. So you had a last transaction log backup taken 10 minutes ago. So you will lose 10 minutes data. So your recovery point objective will match whatever recovery point objective will match up to the time how regularly you're taking transaction log backups. That's what it is. That's what I meant.
okay. So out of this context,
Yeah.
how can we define then RTO, recovery time objective?
Yeah, recovery time is again it will depend on so again that you'll have to test because how much time it will take in case of a disaster to recover from a disaster, that is your recovery time, right? So if you have all the backups, and then how long does it take to bring up the server? If your server goes down, say it's completely crashed, how much time does it take? It will include how much time it takes to recover your server, then how much time it will take you to restore all the backups. So that time, so you will have to actually time it. They always say that if your backup is as good as your recovery strategy. So it is good to test your recovery, all your backups, and whatever you have taken, have your scripts ready. Uh, uh, so that you'll have to just measure it, test it once and measure it. We cannot say like, well, this takes that much time, or I cannot say if you have every 5 minutes transaction of backups, it will take you say half an hour or something. I cannot say that because you'll have to test it for your environment. Uh, because if your server goes down, then you'll have might have to ask them VM. If it's the VMware, you might have to ask the VM guys to recover the image, right? And once the image is
Correct.
done, right, and then you might have to if you have if your SQL Server comes up, that's fine. But if only master, so it depends on the scenario. What all databases have come up, what has not come up, and so you'll have to test it, right? I cannot say how much time.
Yeah, yeah. Got it.
Uh, that's- so
Thanks, sir.
okay. Uh, next, just okay. So how to? So what I just in case of data corruption, someone comes and says, "Oh, this is what I would always recommend. Don't. So you would have to restore it. I would recommend don't restore that database as a new database uh, because in SQL Server you cannot only restore a table. You'll have to restore the entire database. So the best practice is to restore database on a different server and name it differently. And then you ask your people to test data, and you can keep it for a week. Just rename. You can call it okay. My test dot something like that. On put a date on that so that you remember you have to drop it, or first two drops. So after a week you could just drop it. So that's the way you could do it. So I will just show you how to do that. First, I wanted to show you how to move database to a new location using restore Genie. Then we'll look at the data corruption two scenarios I wanted to show. So let's go quickly. Um, so in restore Genie, for example, if this my test database, I want to move to another server, to another drive. In restore Genie, there are two more thing parameters which we could give. So let me just show you those. So let's go into that. I have put it in MSDB. Okay, so explain parameter. So this is a two file folder. This is the parameter where you can specify where you want the logical file. So when you move a database, you have to move the logical files toward. So I'm sure you know for a database there are logical files and the physical files. I'll just say for example on this select sys files, right? So this is your logical file name, and this is your physical file. When you want to restore this data, when you restore this database, SQL Server will always restore it with the same, without any move command, without any commands. I'll show you. I'll tell you what move commands. If you just restore it just like that with a simple restore command, it will restore it to the same location. Now I want to move it to a different location, to a different server. I have to move this physical files. So there is a move command, so which your restore genie will generate. I'll show you how it works. So I'll just say, so where you want, so where I want to say file to be. So if I say file folder, where I want my main data file to be. This is my main data file. So this is my main data file where I want it to be. I can do that. And so we'll just do this. Say for example, I want to do to D, say where I think so. I put it to MSSQL. I think so. I have a folder. Let me cross check otherwise. Yeah, cross check. Yeah, that's the folder. It's there. So if I do that, and I'll just give another and to log folder equal to b colon slash script, right? Okay, so this right now it is an oh it's on the so let me check. I'm doing my test one. So let's do check for that one. That's that use my test one. Let's run this. Oops. Oh, did I? Oh, there's a spelling mistake there. Sorry. Uh, let's run this. Check that. Okay, it's in SQL 2022, so that's fine. So we'll move it back. We'll create another database copy of this one in a different drives. That's what we want to do. So just run this. Okay. Okay, so it's done that. And if you look at, let me copy this and paste it. So, okay, so it will replace. No, it didn't. Okay. Um, it didn't give me root. Okay, so I think so something's wrong. Given something. Yeah, serious. Okay, sorry. No, no. Okay, sorry. It should give me. Okay, yeah. So that's fine. I'm not. I didn't see this problem. Okay, so replace. Okay, here it is. So what it will do is it will create this. So if you can see this command. So here it is saying with move. That's what if you're moving your database to a different physical file location, you'll have to give this. So on a different server, you could copy your backup to a different server and restore it. But the first backup restore you do, full backup, you'll have to give this move command. That's how you can create. So I will rename, for example, I will renamed or just that's what I want the new database to be called rename, not my test itself. So now it will create another database and restore from the backup of the full my test one backup that I had, and it will move it to a different new. Uh, it will create a new database. So you can use this to move it to another server as well. So you could copy the backup file and use the move command. So you have to remember this is the move command and to restore it with that new name. So we can do that. Okay, so this is okay. Right, so it is already there. So I forgot this. So this is what I said. So if you have on a different server, this will not be an error. So but I want this to be the file name to be renamed because yeah, so there is already a file. That's why it's giving me this error. So I'll just rename. You just need to give a different file, physical file name as well. So that right. So it's done that restore. So only for the first full backup you need to do that. After that, or your but I want to change this to be renamed. Right, otherwise it will give me an error. So I'll do all these for all of them. Right, right. So that's why I suggested because if you run it on the production server, then you'll have issues. So that's it's always
Can you
suggested.
break down the syntax?
Yeah, that's right. So that's, yeah. So just doing yeah. Uh, right. You don't need to give move on all of them. So I'll just remove this. Let's try that because it's just creating. So let's do that. Okay, if I do that because it's already moved one. Uh, only the first one you need to give, other ones you don't. So this script is not perfect, but right. So you could change it if you want to. Right. So, okay. Long. Right. And rename. Yes, that's all it is. Right. And I'll just do this one as well so that we can see. And that's it. So that's all you need to. Oh, so I have to do rename it, right? That's one rename. Okay, sorry, I didn't do underscore. That's why. So yeah, so now I have a new. I'll just refresh this. Right. So this is the new database which I have restored from a backup of my test one. So this you could use it in a scenario where you're moving database from one server to another, or even on the same server if you want to create a new database with the same contents. So you could use this. And so is that fine? Any questions on that? Okay. So now I will show you another thing, how to recover from the data corruption I talked about. So let's have a quick look how there are two scenarios I want to show. Let's cancel this. let me open the file that I have. Let's get it. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Let's open this. Right. So let's start again. So let's say I will take a full backup first. Right. Let's start. Okay. Now I will just use my database and so check the data. So it's just got what's in it. And I think so. Yeah, we are at 20 rows it has got. This is what I will. So someone goes it and say does a wrong update and he knows the time. So I'm just capturing this time, right? So I could say just do these together, right? And I just copy and then he comes and says, okay, I have done this mistake at this time. I need data before this time, right? So, and he knows the time. So what we need to do is do again, the log backup because now the database up. I'll just do a backup of the log, right? And now I want to restore this database. So I say I'm working on a production server, so, but I don't want it to be stored on the production. I want to restore it on a new server with a different name, but I will just generate the scripts from here and give this value a stop at. So this is what you need to give. So I'll just copy it from here where I had copied it here. Right. So I'll just put it here. Oh, so, okay. And say I want to do this. Okay. Control V and let's run this. Okay. So it's got one full backup and the log backup. So I'll just copy this. Right. So I'll just copy these. Right. Home. Okay. So let's just max get everything right so that we can see all the commands. Right. Okay. So let me just go down. So I will say restore database and I make sure that we put a different name. So let's call it uh, one recovered, something like that, so that you know this is a recovered database. So you can just put any name. I'll put this right and I'll just put it here recovered one and just go. So make sure that stressing that you make sure that you generate the script from production and take it to another server and restore it there. Don't do it on the same server. So let's restore this, right? And now we'll restore the log, right? And here it will give the this is your stop at command. So what I'll do is from I'll need to give this same. I'll just copy this database name so that I have database. Okay. Okay. So let's restore this, restore log and stop at that, right? So I want to run this. And now I will just copy this again. Bring the database online and we'll check the data. So let's see, right? So stop that. So that's done. Now, if I just do this, copy this, okay. So I've done that. If I done this, so this is the same gone back to what it was earlier, right? So so we had been, this is what we had earlier. So we had updated it to, let's go back and see what I have done. This is right. This is what we had set it to, but now we have got the data. So we restored it up to the point before the mistake. So this is how you can do if you know the time. So if you know the exact time, you can use the stop at command to do restore to a time just before that. Right. Uh, that's how you could recover in case someone does. That's one scenario. So the person knows the time. Then you. Any questions on that?
So basically, we are doing point in time
Yes,
thing,
right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. You're just doing point in time and giving the time, exact time where you want the restore to stop. Because that's what I did. after someone had made a mistake, I took a backup of the transaction log after the change, right? So I can stop the transaction log to go up to that point where the mistake was made. I can stop. That's what we can do.
Okay.
Okay. So because after that also there was some transaction might be there, so that's why we took a backup of the log and then did a stop at it while we store.
Can you scroll up? I just
Yeah,
wanted to
no
see
problem.
the
That's
other,
fine. Okay.
the other one.
Right.
I mean, I just wanted to see the restore command.
Yes,
What
okay, okay, okay. That's here. We'll go down then. This is the one. Okay, that is the full backup. Then the log, because we did only one log after the mistake. So this is what the command will be like.
oh, okay, got
Right. So that's the way. And if now something happens and someone doesn't know the time when they exactly did the mistake, so that's slightly painful. But there is another process we could do. Uh, what you'll have to do is, I'll just show you how to do that. So let's go back. It's this one. Okay. Now, and you open the video. Right. Okay. So let's start again. We'll take a backup. Okay. Right. Now let's see what was my test one. Let's do. So this is what is there right now. This is what is there in the database right now in this table. So now if I do again, so someone, okay, this is what we have. Okay, so I'll just take a backup of the log before the problem. So I'll just do that and then I'll do an update. But now I'm not measuring the time when it done. So I'll just do, and then the person comes and says, okay, I've done some mistake. So what I'll do is I'll just take another log backup, right? And now I'm not, okay, so let me, yeah. Uh, Now again, I will generate the scripts, right? And but this time, what I'll do is I'll do a standby. What it will do is I will create a new database in the standby mode, and I will recover the database one so that I can see what data is there in the database in the transaction log file that I have restored, right? So what I will do is I'll show you. Let's run this. Okay, so I'll just copy this. Okay, again, so let's paste it here. Okay, so what you can do is have to do a little multiple times. So let me, I'll just show you the command as well. So let's minimize this so we can see it properly. Okay, so all right, and so now if you see there is a standby file, that's what it is. So let's call. I want to say recover to the two, right? This is what I want to do, and this is will remain same. And I think so already have a my test in my undo file, so I'll just call it my t so that I don't forget. Then you again will have to move this file and just call it recover to and just call it to. Okay. So what I'll do is okay, so let's do that. Okay, I'll change that, run this. Okay, just created the new die. So I'll use my test restore and see what data is. So now this is only in read only mode. Now it is no writing, so we can check the data. Otherwise, if we were doing no recovery, we could have checked. So this is the way you could do. So you just do this, and if I do that, right, still the data is that what I have done. Okay, so now what I need to do, I'll run the next command, next block. So I know that somewhere around this, you know, I take another the backup, so I restore that one. Let's do this, and so I have to use master again. Okay, So I'll restore this log. Okay, so my test, right? I have to just copy this. So no, sorry, recovery two, right? And this is what it is, and I'm just standby file again. I copy this one so that I have the same file name. Otherwise, it will give me an error, right? Okay, let's run this, right? And we check, right? That's done. So now again, we can check if we still have the old data. Is this the transaction log I want? And it still not has the old data, right? Now, okay, let's go back. Let's run the next one. Okay, okay, that's right. So let me just make this, copy this, okay, and copy this. Let's do this. Okay. All right, and run this. Oh, okay, sorry, I have to use master. Okay, now this. Okay, so now if I check, let's go here. Okay, let's run this. So this is what has the change data. So I know I need to restore up to this before this. That's the only way. If someone doesn't tell you time. So this is you have to put the database into standby mode and just restore one log at a time, and then just see when the data has changed and restore to the log before. That's the only way if someone doesn't remember the time. So but this is the way you can do it. So I just wanted to show that. Uh,
That
any
means
more?
for every log backup, we need to check.
Yes, that's the problem. So once I had to do it for 1 day. So that's what I have to just go one by
uh,
at a time. We had every 10 minutes. So
mhm.
so so it's quite painful, but that's the only because if someone doesn't tell you the time, then it's if you know even if, then if someone tells you an approximate time, you could go up to that transaction log backup and then maybe get it to in standby mode and then do the next one and see if the data changes, right? So that could be little, but if it doesn't tell you any time, then it is a problem.
Sure.
Right? So, yeah. So I just wanted to show how you could use the standby mode to read the data and do that. So that's what I wanted to show. So that's about this one. Then I'll just show you the last thing I think. So that's what I want to cover one thing. So check go back to my presentation. Okay. Right. Right. Yeah. So here. Okay. So we have done data corruption. So if your backup file gets corrupted, how can you do that? So let me just show you how to do that. Do a restore of that one. So let me open a sorry, file, backup file corruption, right? So what we'll do is start again, take a full backup of this database, and we'll take few log backups just quickly, right? And we'll take another full backup, right? So for example, this was the first one you ran on a Monday, and then full backup you're running on Tuesday. Then we'll take another log backup, right? Now what we'll do is we'll just corrupt one of the backup files. So what I'll do is I'll go into D drive and your second corruption file is corrupted. So let's backups. So let me see. Right, to update modified. Yes. So let me just cross check the file and corrupted. So yeah, my test backup database. Yes. So this is my test three full one, right? So this is my test three full one, that one, right? So what I'll do is I'll just open it in, say, open with WordPad, something like that. Let's go in there. Okay, there is open. Okay, let me see. It is not opening yet. My WordPad is it there? No. Let me just open again. Open with. Okay. It's taking. Okay, cancel something wrong. So let's see. Right. No, it has not opened it yet. Okay, so it's opened it now. It's opening. Yeah. So it's 56. Okay, it's open in WordPad. So we'll just delete something, this character, and that's it. We'll save this file. It'll take some time to save it. It's just since ASCII characters or something like that, it takes time. So just let's close it. Okay, okay, it's done. So I'll just close this down. And now what I'll do is okay. Okay. Now I'll just do restore Genie and get to the commands. So let's get the commands. Okay, so I got the commands. Now I'll just copy these again, once again. Okay, use master. Right, so let me paste it here itself so that it's easy. Control home. Now, if I do this, replace, leave this as it is, but it's doing the same thing. So we are doing the full backup, first restore. So the latest full backup is what I corrupted. So if I do this, now it will give me this error. Uh, so your backup is corrupted. So what can you do now is you will have to go to the prior backup, full backup, and then you'll have to do all the transaction log backups since then. So even if your one full backup is corrupted, and you could do that. So I'll show you how what I have done. So let's say my test three. So I am now recovering from I was recovering from this one, sorry. And now, how can we cover that? So I will have to go to my prior full backup, which was the first one, full backup. So if I do this one, right, right, okay, it's done the restore because this file was fine. But now you'll have earlier it said if you look at the Genie command, it said just you had to do only two log backups. But now you have to do all the backup, restore all the log backups since that full backup. So I will do that. There are six of them. I'll do this, right? And then I can restore my database. So that's how you could do a restore if one of your backup file is corrupted, or the file, any file is corrupted. So you'll have to go to the file which is right, which is correct, and then you'll have to restore all the transaction log backups. So that's how you could recover your database. So it's very important to have your transaction log backups safe. That really helps. Any questions on that?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, good.
That's fine. Okay, great. Great. Let's go. So I think so. It just almost covered everything. Let's quickly have a look. Yeah. I'll just show you a few more important commands for the restore. So I'll show that. Um, yeah. Yeah. Right. So there is a few file I want to show. The first one is verify only. This is the command. It will not restore your database. It will just check, yeah, all the data file. Everything in the data file is correct for restore. All the backup set is complete. There is no errors. So let's see if I do this for my first file. It will always say backup file set is valid. So if you're doing a backup, and then after that, if you just do a verify, then you can make sure that your backup is fine. And similarly, if I do for the other one, it will say this is there. So if you're taking a backup to a say network drive or something, and once you have taken a backup to the network uh, drive, then it is usually recommended that you do a verify only, so that you know that your backup set is complete and it can be restored from. Uh, but it doesn't really guarantee that once you're doing restore, there might not be a problem. So that guarantee only comes when you have tested that backup. You restored it. So restore done an actual restore. And then this is the header only restore. So this is gives you the header information about your backup file. So I think so I put three backups on the same file. It will give you all the information. What is the server name, database name, and start lesson check-in, log sequence number, backup when did it start, when did it end, all the details about your backup. So that's the header only, and that's about the header. And there is one more command. This is the file list. This will give you what was the physical file name and the logical file name of the database that you were backing up. This is what you could use actually to do a restore to a new location. So you could just do a move, change this, keep this in there only, and change this. Or you could use this restore genius script. That is another one. So these are the three commands I wanted to show. Basically, you could use with restore. So yeah, that's about them. Uh, Anything that you want to ask on that one?
Anup,
Yeah,
I have a question.
right,
See, in server A, I have the database, test database,
right,
and it has two data files and one
okay,
log file.
right.
Okay, but I want to restore it into the other server.
Mhm.
That two data files should come into the one data file. One data file. Is there any option that we can do in SQL Server?
No, no. So they will remain two different data files. You could put them onto different drives, but putting that data into one file is not possible. No, that is not possible. Not
Oh,
possible. Yeah. So yeah, that is not possible. Until unless what you'll have to do is what are the objects. So uh, if you restore it to another server B, then you'll have whatever objects are there on your say secondary data file. You'll have to move them to primary, and then you can drop your secondary data file. That's the only
hello.
option. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you come again?
Yeah. So what you'll have to do is you can restore that database, for example, that test database to a different server. You
Mhm.
will have to move all the objects that are there on your secondary data file to maybe a primary data file that you want to move to, and then you drop your secondary data file. That's the only way you learn, not by a backup and restore. You'll not be able to using backup and
Okay. After restoring it, I need to shrink the.
not shrink. You have to move the database objects, your tables, right? So what you'll have to do is rebuild index with I think so. You can you when you are doing a rebuild index, a clustered index, that your table is again created, right? So in that you say with file group, right? So what file group you want that table to go to? So it will go to that file group. So that way you can move that object from your second file. And once it's moved, then you can, because if file is empty, then you can drop that file.
Oh,
Okay.
got it.
Uh, I think so. If you search on Google how to move database objects between file groups, there is that there is a articles are there. You will find.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
As that. Then I think just wanted to go over the best practices. So what I'll just reiterate what I've. So yeah, as I said earlier, your backups are as good as your restore strategy. So always test your restore, time your restores, document your restore process. Have try and whatever backup you are doing, try and restore them to on a different server. Say on a weekly basis, have an exercise where you test your files and see if they can be restored. What is another easier way? What happens for us is we do a log shipping. So I know my production database backups are being restored onto the secondary. There is no corruption. So if something is problem in my log shipping, I know okay, this log file is not good, or any backup file is yeah, especially the transaction log backup files. I know. It's again have a documented, have the steps kept and shared among your teams. Have the scripts ready, restored scripts ready. So another thing you need to do is for outages, copy all your logins. So whatever you have, you can use SP help rev logins, which will reverse engineer your logins, store that output onto a different server. Uh, Also, all your server level configurations and all your restore scripts. So you could just run with the restore genie after every have a job run after every half an hour and just copies the restore commands to a different server or something like that. That would help you in case then you're not spending time writing the scripts. You don't want to do that if you have disaster and everybody's standing on your head and shouting. So that it will help. So always yeah, just practice all your commands as well. Whatever I've shown, just practice that you feel confident. That's what I will suggest. That's all I had. So yeah, that's all I wanted to share. Any questions? Anything?
No, either.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm
Okay. Thanks. I hope you had enjoyed. So mm, I'll share the recording. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. What is the
I'll
next
also share that
topic?
script, Anu.
Yeah, I've put it in the chat as well. Just see if you can get it. You-
What is the next topic next week?
Yeah. So I can we can discuss what you want to do. I was thinking about trying about the uh, the indexes. So do you want to do